Hi, I'm back and I'm very excited to be part of Sarah Scraps' what's she calling it? The back to school video hop. So down here we're 3/4 through our school year already. This the small crafty dude, or tall crafty dude as I might have to start calling him, has 3 weeks off, and then he has probably goes back sort of sometime in October for another 8 odd weeks, and then the summer break starts in probably the second week of December. But I have a back to school photo that I'm going to scrapbook of him. It's not this year's back to school photo, it's last year's one, and I don't know if you can see it, but I know that the this one's a little bit dark, and I'm finding with my particular Instax that I need to make the light setting one lighter than what the camera wants it to be. See, this one, he looks nice because I whispered death threats in his ear after getting this expression, this sort of mugshot face, and the whole saga was that he didn't want to hold this sign because it was pink. So that's where we're going with this story, and we're focusing on sketches in Sarah's Rediscover Your Stash. Yeah, that's it. I had a senior moment there. Rediscover Your Stash Facebook group. So I decided I'd take that one step further and go with not just sketches but scrap lifts as well. And I like to use all the paper, so I've got quite a few here. And the reason for that is that I'm going to try and scrap lift this awesome layer by Chamel, because look at all these layers and layers, and she's put them, rather than, I mean, she's got a few here, but she's put them all as frames, and I think that's going to look really nice. So we'll see where we go with that. I wanted to include some purple, black, grey. They're sort of all his school colours, but there definitely has to be a fair amount of pink in this because it sort of plugs directly into the story. And back in January, the Rediscover Your Stash group has some challenges because January and I think it's June, could be wrong, but it's somewhere around the middle of the year, there are 2 spending freezes. This one from January, the whole frozen motif, the idea is to use the colour palette, and the pinks and purples and blues were perfect. I have sort of gone a little bit green because a lot of the aquas and blues tend to lean green rather than blue, and yeah, but that's not such a huge drama because in the nail polish world this would be called blurple. Anyway, so I'm going to try and sort of generally get the inspiration from this because we're going to keep on moving, otherwise we'll never get this done. The general inspiration comes from this. We're using this, but we may have to improvise a little bit and throw in a tiny bit of green, which is fine because the trees in the park that's behind him will yeah, provide a bit of green, and so it doesn't look quite foreign. I'm sort of using these 2 papers that have kind of all the colours. This one has more colours than we really need. Don't really need the orange. It's okay, but we've got our pinks, we've got our aquas, purple, obviously, blue, green. I tried throwing in grey because a lot of the boys' uniform has grey in it, but it just didn't look right. I'm going to try and figure out these borders. I've noticed that here they're sort of, and I really like this, that they're sort of all closer together on this side, and then they're spread further apart here. So it's kind of a little bit more challenging to figure out what kind of margins to leave, but we'll just go bit by bit, and if we need to keep taking more off, we'll keep taking more off. So I'm going to do the best I can and come back with some hopefully more or less trimmed up layers. Well, I've cut them down as best as I can. I realised I forgot a layer. There should be 5, and then I have this extra blue polka dot to mat them with, because all the papers I've tried, because I want to include the actual card that he was holding, which I might have to trim it down slightly. It looked wrong against nearly all the pinks. So just to make, and also to sort of unify this group of rather mismatched, strange photos. I'm going to mat those on just a little bit of, I thought this just simple blue polka dot. I'm not massively thrilled with the layers, but they're going to have to do. They're a bit chaotic, just like our lifestyle, and hopefully, I think once I ink up the edges, it might look a little bit better. There's only one way to find out. So that's what I'm going to do next. Quite a few of them need definition. I think where the edges of this, I was disappointed that some of the blues and the greens got cut off the edge. I wanted to get rid of as much of the orange, but instead I think I made it worse. Oh well. I'm going to go quite heavy-handed with the ink, I think, and I'm just going to go with black to make sure that it's quite prominent. Okay, so everything's inked up, and I did trim this one down a little bit. It had some slightly yellowy browny distressing around the edge, and so I chopped that off and then went quite heavy with the black distress ink. And then to this photo, even against the blue, it was sort of just getting a little bit lost, so I found just a little scrap piece of pattern paper. It was more or less this size, so I just had to trim the tiniest bit off, and I matted it. It's just got some text print on there. You can't even read what it says, but I like to incorporate sort of alphas, numbers, text print, that sort of thing, as well as my son's school colours here and there throughout his school album. So if I ink that as well and then try and figure out how I'm going to mat them all together and then glue everything down, hopefully it'll start resembling. Sorry, the camera angle's really awkward today. I do apologise for that. Every time we try and set it up, we can never quite get our setup exactly the same, and every time it seems to be worse than the time before. So this is all a bit frustrating. So how am I going to make this work? I'm going to work in just one corner of it. Right, well, I just keep looking at this and thinking it has to go like this. But there's just a little bit more space on this side of the photo. Maybe because if it's positioned on this part of the page, unless I went opposite and I mirror image the page, and so what I would do is then do it with a narrow border on this side and then have the wider margins here, and yes, that's what I'm going to do, because then I'm going to get the nicer colouring down this side. Yes, I'm very happy with that idea. Sometimes these things happen the way you least expected them. Oh, and I saved this branding strip off the, I think it was the big library card paper. Okay, so we're going to position him like this. This definitely has to be here, I think, because that's the whole problem. This is why I wanted to have the sheet in the first place, the blue, because I wanted to have the blue because this 8 card just looked silly against the pink, because the pinks are so different. This is alright. What I'll do first is just tack the Instax print onto this photo here the way we want it. I like to offset it just a little bit. Then I'll tack this onto the 8 card, and I'm not particularly worried about keeping it straight. Yeah, this is looking like a fine jumble. Because right now I'm trying to get an idea of how big it should be. And then I can mess about with the exact sizing. Okay, to the trimmer. Now we very nearly missed the bottom edge there, so I'm going to pull it up and just move it up just a little bit. This is riveting viewing, isn't it? This is the story of my life. Pull it up, stick it down. Pull it up, stick it down. Well, I'm going to sort of leave it something like that until further notice. And then, yeah, okay, so we're sticking down. I'm going to stick down these layers, and then I'm going to figure out on the sketch. There's all these strips. I think that one looks like a branding strip because I know it's from this. Quite a few of these are from the Wild Child Pink Paisley, and I think some Paige Evans papers. I recognise those, but I can't forget we're doing this backwards, so I can't forget halfway through. Okay, just going to turn this whole stack upside down and then start. So this is where we're at right now. I did cut a strip of that stripy Maggie Holmes paper and I didn't like it. This is what it looked like. It's not that there's too much pink, but it's, I don't know. I might just keep it aside. I won't completely dismiss it yet. But there's this one. This is from the Shine On, and one reason why this particular pattern appealed to me is that it looks like a really close-up zoom in of the boys' school shirts. They've got a very fine black check on white. I mean, you can't really see that in the photos, but that's what it is. But then flipping it over, these flowers are kind of cute too. I might need to make that a bit smaller. And they've got all the right colours too, the same ones that are here. So I might leave that just, I mean, we need to sort of adhere it somehow anyway on the top. So it's coming back to our sketch. If I'd known I was going to do this, I probably would have mirrored it and then printed it. Chanel's used some tulle, it looks like, which I'm not going to bother with, and then just stuffed some little bits and pieces in there, which I'll get to that. Oh, this is one of those Sasa circle-y things. I have so many of those. This might be an opportunity to use it, one of them. Okay, and then put the title there. Interesting. Okay. Yeah. Unless I pull this up, use the 8 as the title over here, and then use these. Yeah, actually, yep, that's what I'm going to do. So it's got to go here, and it's lining up with the third paper, which is this one. Or kind of lining up anyway with that. That being the case, I could even take more off there, off the bottom, and that might even look better. We'd still be at that same sort of situation where it looks silly against the pink, but yeah, that's what I might do. Okay, I'll put it like this. That's a really good fit actually. And then cut it there, so both of them will end there, and then stick it like that. How do the embellishments go? All down the side, so they'll be all down here, and then one at the top and one at the bottom on the other side. So if we put this kind of like that, kind of in the middle, that, yeah, okay. Well, this is where we're at right now. I need to do a title. I'll still use the 8, but if I add some extra alphabet stickers here, I think that'll make this space look more purposeful. So, going back to our sketch / scrap lift, we need a bunch of things on this edge, possibly some extra strips of paper or other bits and pieces, I'm not sure yet, and then 2 bits on this other side, and that's where I think this little the little Instax is going to work well. So we can put a bit on here and a bit there underneath it. So I've got a stack of random embellishments here. I've got a handful of the die cuts from the field trip. I'm not sure how many of them will work because they're a lot more museum-y, and they're very positive and jolly, and yeah, this my boy's like his mum. He's got his yeah, can be quite snarky, and that's one thing I love very much about him. So I've got some cutter parts. I wish I could use that one, but I think it's just going to be far too big. It would actually make a really good title. I just don't think I can make it work. I definitely think I'm going to cut some of these books out. Then I've got this pile of stickers. So the sensible thing to do would be to pull out the ones that I think are going to work really well, but I always pull out clearly more than I need, and this is what happens. I've got these still the little chipboard bits from that rainbow layout that I haven't put back. Now this I definitely want to use, the pink Instax, because my Instax is pink, and that's part of the whole, it sort of ties in with the story, and you know, there's lots of Instax pattern paper I think that I even rejected because it's just going to be too much. But yeah, well, we'll see. I should sort of, I'm going to get on with paring some of these back, seeing what I can use, what I can narrow down. Yeah, okay, right, my next mission is going to cut out whatever I'm going to cut out of these papers, and then getting some of these embellishments and stickers and things pulled out. So I won't make you watch me cut out circles and books, but I will be back very soon. Well, I have narrowed down the embellishments, or the die cuts anyway, and cut out a few bits out of the papers I said I was going to. I put some stickers over here that I hope I can find room for, because otherwise I'm going to have to put them back, and I really hate doing that. I chopped that border sticker and put the most relevant colours along here, but it may need something else, and I think it probably will. So let's get started. Right, well, what I was thinking was to sort of put that somewhere like this, and then something inside the frame. Actually, there was a stack of, this stack of books. Let's see how that looks. I don't know about this. These bits were that sticker that I was thinking of using, but I ended up cutting it apart and making the halo a lot smaller, and that way, because when I was sort of playing around with the placements, I just couldn't figure out, it was just sort of too tall, whereas this way I can fit it in a lot better. Sort of something like, I don't know, I probably won't put it over the photo like this, but yeah, something like that. Now, where is our sketch again? Okay. I should put it over here. This might work. That's the bit that we're focusing on anyway. So now I sort of go through and put the bits that are the most important. Now I like that there, so maybe here, and then this could potentially go in there. Now something above this bit, I definitely like these two. The bottom cluster looks a little bit bigger in the one that Chamel has done, but I'm worried about how much room I'll have for journaling, and because this already comes down so far, I don't really want to encroach too much coming out this way. So we might stick to, we put a note like that. Yeah, I'm not sure if that one's going to happen. I wanted to use this book, didn't I? See what I mean? It's already coming out like this. But then I guess the top cluster of hers is really quite, yeah, well, that's not too bad. I cut out a bunch of these little, from the Amy Tangerine's Hustle and Heart sticker book, and they've got a glossy finish, so I stuck them on some cardstock, and they've just got a slight sheen to them, which I think will, yeah, work well. And it's I might have been a scrap bit of the Nina 110 pound, because it's really quite tough. There's also this one where I from the Rosie Studio, so I thought I'd cut off the rainbow and just use the bottom bit and tuck it. Actually, that might be a good spot for it, right there. I can use the rainbow on something else. Let's see what we've got here. Awesome, be awesome, soft bow. Let's bounce. That's sort of a tanny colour. I don't know if I'll use them. Might put that one on Pop Dots. I haven't really used any actually yet. Actually, I'll put the title, I'll do the title, and then I might have a better idea of how much room is left. These are quite perfect. Here's the antithesis of pink and glitter, so it makes perfect sense. And it's a good kind of a deep sort of pinky red, because I wanted a sort of, so that the main word of the title would kind of feed right into that. The only problem is the ascenders and descenders are going to give me a lot of trouble, but we'll do the best we can. I better add those glue dots before I forget. Yeah, that's not too bad. Well, it'll do anyway. It'll do. It's readable. It's fairly compact. It will do. Okay, now to get the rest of this stuff. Well, I'm going to glue down what I've decided. Actually, that could potentially have Pop Dots. Let's glue down. A few slight changes and moved things around. I moved this from there, but I had to put something over it because it left some marks. So I think I'd still like to put something just in there. I've got some small bits that might do the job. Still I'm not sure where to put the date, but I'll put in the journaling if I start here and just keep filling it in. But I probably won't go further than this point. And I'm thinking the date maybe on one of these books, or maybe here, I'm not sure. Yeah, maybe on one of those. I'm just going to test it on scrapbook paper to make sure that I got the orientation right. Yeah, that's it. So, I think if I put the date here, it will be more prominent. And if I mess it up, well, I can just, oh, that's alright. Huh. Glad I got that on film because that never happens to me. So, sprinkly bits. These hearts are the absolute perfect colour combination. Stamps, nope. There are some cameras in really good colours there, some here. I don't know about these wooden buttons. Yeah, there's not a lot that will work, but we've got some of these things. So I'll start with the puffy stuff. This is, I was going to say this is Amy's, from Amy's newest collection, but it's not. It's the newest that we have here in our big box store. So I definitely wanted to have something. I want that. Actually, I wanted something here, but I do like that pop of purple. So perhaps this heart. Perhaps not. Yeah, maybe that one. Oh, this one is so navy it's almost black. That'll work. And the hearts add that delightful little bit of irony. Considering how excited he was to go back. Not that one. That's the wrong sort of purple. Okay, sprinkly bits are done, puffy stickers and journaling's done, and the rest of the embellishments are on. Some on Pop Dot, some not. So I have folded up this bit of our, actually this is our sketch inspiration photo. I've also got this Mr. Huey's. It's quite old. It's from a limited edition 80s set, and it's this perfect bright purple, and best of all it's called Punky Brewster, and I used to love Punky Brewster back in the day. Just saying. Okay, here we go. They don't tend to give me quite such nice big blobs. Come on. Okay, getting little droplets. I don't particularly want to stick a brush in because then I have to clean the brush. There we go. That works quite well because we've got the big gold ones. And these little kind of cast off spatter, blood spatter. Someone watches too much true crime. Yeah. just am going to wipe it off the sticker because that's shiny and it'll never dry anyway. I think that's about it. So here it is. Thank you so very much for watching, and I hope you watch all the other ladies, and there's lots and lots of us doing this. In the back to school, learning is fun, or at the very least an adventure, misadventure if you're Max's mum. Yeah, thank you for watching. Check out the other ladies. Bye.